Good morning. Welcome to Temple Buddhist Center's Sunday meditation service. I'm Farah, and I'm honored to be of service to you this morning. We hope that our service this morning finds you happy and healthy, but know that if you are struggling, we hope that Temple Buddhist Center can be a source of refuge for you as we open our hearts to you and to your loved ones. Let's begin this morning with a few conscious breaths. Let's take a few moments to ground, to experience the body, and to breathe together. Conscious breathing is where you seal the mouth, breathe deeply through the nose, pause for a moment, and then release slowly so that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Let's begin. Breathing in, pausing just for a moment, feeling the fullness of the lungs, and releasing slowly. And as you release, checking in with the body, being aware of what's present and alive in the body right now for you. A second conscious breath. Pausing for a moment and releasing slowly. As you release, see if you can also release any worry or anxiety or concerns from this week. All of that energy of doing, going, striving, and accomplishing. Just give yourself a few moments to cultivate the energy of being, not doing. A third conscious breath together. Releasing slowly, and as you release, taking time to invite into your awareness the present moment, fully arriving in the here and now. The present moment is always with us. Here at Temple Buddhist Center, we like to begin our service with a chant. Chanting is an integral part of every tradition, and it's really not about being a singer, it's about having a voice. Victor is going to tell us about our chant.
Thank you very much, Farah. And so our chant this morning is Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani Hum. And this, in the Sanskrit tradition, is the chant that honors the energy of the enlightened mind, that expansive, luminous energy of the enlightened, of the awakened mind. And you might recognize the seed sound, Om, very common in a lot of yogic practices. Om is the sound of the universe, reminding each one of us that we are a beautiful note in a grand cosmic symphony forever playing. And so let's begin with a conscious breath together. And let's begin. Om Vajrapani Hum. 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 With a smile. Om Vajrapani Hum. Vajrapani Hum. Once more. Om Vajrapani Hum.
Here at TBC, we practice Western Buddhism, a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. This new and exciting form of spirituality is dynamic, inclusive, active, and focuses on core Buddhist insights, mindfulness, meditation, and their practical application in our daily life. Our goal here is not to get everyone to agree on just one philosophy or lineage. Instead, it's on cultivating a shared experience of mindfulness, onefulness, and love. Whether we're chanting, meditating, or sharing from the heart, we respect that you will participate only at the level that feels comfortable for you. We take refuge in the three jewels and acknowledge these core values as expressions of the awakened mind: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We value awareness of our own Buddha nature, as well as the Buddha nature of all beings, allowing a new perspective of this and every precious moment. The second jewel is the Dharma, the truth teachings that release us from fear and delusion and help us to realize the true nature of who we are. And Sangha, our spiritual community, an essential part of growth where we practice the teachings together and support each other along every step of the way. So now, let's take a moment to silence any electronic devices that you may have. If you're at home, you can prepare a meditative environment. Let's prepare for the prayer of refuge. We'll recite this together 3 times. Let's take a conscious breath. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened. Through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened. Through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. As we enter into a time of meditation, we do have cushions, blankets, cough drops, tissues, and listening devices at the table in the back. If you already have an extensive practice, then I invite you to practice in a way that's fitting for you this morning. However, if you're new to meditation, then we'll begin with an opening dedication. We'll sound the bell 3 times. There will be a brief guided meditation with Victor, and then we'll spend about 12 to 15 minutes in noble silence. Let's begin by breathing together. body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness, I send my heart with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who they are.
And so as the sound of the bell recedes, guiding us, showing us the way into stillness. If you need to adjust the posture or take another conscious breath or two, whatever necessary to partner with the body for a deeper sense of relaxation, ease, and gentleness. As the breath settles into its natural flow, its natural rhythm, we bring our awareness to the rise and fall of the tummy with each in-breath and out-breath. We can also take time to scan the body once or twice more, releasing any tension, any points of contraction, bringing awareness to the forehead or the eyebrows, releasing the jaw, letting the shoulders drop completely, and softening the belly. And so, connected to the breath by the rise and fall of the tummy, the body is gentle, spacious, and light. We can bring our awareness now to awareness itself, noticing when the mind becomes aware of a sound, perhaps in the room or outside. And in the same moment that the mind chases after a sound, in that same moment, we simply notice the distraction of the mind and return to the breath. You might notice that the mind has become aware of a sensation, like hot or cold, or an itch or an ache. In the same moment that you notice that the mind has been distracted with a sensation is the same moment that you lovingly and gently return to the breath. The breath is always in the present moment. No such thing as a past breath or a future breath. There's always only this one. You might notice that the mind has become engaged with thinking. When you notice that the mind has been distracted by a thought or a string of thoughts, it's not an opportunity to judge or punish yourself. It's a celebration. It's a moment to celebrate awakening, awakening from the dream of thought. And in that same moment, we simply return to the rise and fall of the tummy, to this breath. 100,000 times is not too many times to come back to the breath, to come back to present moment awareness. And so, connected to the breath, the body is easy and light. The mind is clear yet receptive to whatever arises, and the heart is open. We can move more deeply into our meditation. I close my eyes and I see clearly. I stop trying to listen and I hear truth. I am silent, yet my heart sings. I seek no contact and find union. I am still and move forward. I am gentle and need no strength. I am humble and remain whole, returning again and again to the breath, returning again and again home. So I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of sound, noticing the sound of my voice, or the sound of rustling in the room, or the sound of the air handlers. And as you become aware of the sense door of sound, can you keep 5% of your awareness on the still silence within? Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of touch. As you feel the feeling of your clothing upon your skin, or perhaps the feeling of the chair or the cushion beneath you. And as you become aware of matter, material, form, at the same time, can you keep 5% of your awareness on that which is formless? In other words, awareness of awareness. Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of sight as you slowly begin to open your eyes, just allowing in a little bit of light, not focusing hard on anything. And as you become aware of objects and things and stuff, at the same time, can you keep 5% of your awareness on the space around those things, on the space in the room, the space around the building, around our planet. Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the breath as we take a conscious breath together. And as you release, become present in the here and the now, in this time and this place. So good morning, everyone, and welcome, welcome. Before I begin with the Dharma talk this morning, I want to be sure and acknowledge the many truly heartfelt gatherings of people this weekend, all in some form of peaceful protest, advocating for positive change. There was the March for Our Lives, was this weekend. There's also a Gay Pride March was this weekend. I don't know if any of you were down here near the plaza, but it was all blocked off on that end. It was really very colorful and just a tremendous amount of joy and love and happiness and sharing with everybody. So I want to acknowledge all of these different groups of individuals that are coming together in a common cause for positive change. And so I wanted to acknowledge those as well. And so my grandfather always used to use the term doozy. And as a kid, I never really understood. I mean, he'd bring in a tomato from the garden and it's like, oh, that's a doozy. I was like, isn't that a tomato? And there'd be a storm. Whoa, that was a doozy, you know, and everything was a doozy. And I never really fully understood what it was. I just figured it was some more of Grandpa's funny sayings. Well, this week, I've had a doozy of a week, and I think I fully understand that concept now. And so the talk today arises out of an ongoing experience that began last Sunday. And so while last Sunday, while I was at Tees Park, many of you know Tees Park, it's right in front of the Nelson, kind of extends all the way down to Brush Creek. There was some live music in the park, and some friends texted me and said, hey, come out and sit in the grass with us and collect chiggers and enjoy some wonderful music. And so I was down there, and I was actually only there for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And as I returned to my car, I found that the passenger window had been shattered, and that my bag, which was on the floorboard and covered with a jacket, had been taken. So cash, credit cards, checkbooks, my iPad, pretty much everything had been stolen. And so now, the details of this experience are not as important as the response. And I want to share with Sangha, not to elicit sympathy or any other kind of reactivity, which, by the way, it's important to notice mindfully within yourself what arises, what comes up. Most people have experienced some form of loss or even burglary or even perhaps robbery. And so it's interesting to know what comes up. I've had a couple people ask me, it's like, you must have felt so violated. And what's interesting is that's not really, yes, it came up, but it wasn't a strong sense for me. What came up for me was lack of control, was the inability to control the situation. And that's a core issue for this mind-body organism. But it's interesting to note, and I want to invite the Sangha to be aware of what arises within you as I talk about this today. And so again, like I was saying, it's not so much that I share this for any kind of reactivity, but rather as a way to cultivate awareness of our practice and the depth of insight that can arise in any circumstance. Trungpa Rinpoche puts it this way: the lion's roar is the fearless proclamation that any state of mind, any circumstance, any part of ourselves, including the most difficult emotions, is a workable situation. A reminder in the practice of meditation. We can realize that the chaotic situations must not be rejected, that we can realize and regard the situation not as regressive, as a return to a state of confusion, so to speak. We must sit and respect whatever happens to our state of mind. Even chaos should be regarded as extremely good news. We learn to accept our states as part of the patterns of mind, patterns of reactivity, patterns of conditioned response. And we do this without question, without reference to the past, without help from credentials, directly acknowledging that this experience is so, and that these things are here and are true. That is the lion's roar, that whatever occurs in the samsaric mind, or the repetitive mind, is regarded as the path. Everything is workable. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this, because at the moment I arrived to find my car in this state, I believe that there are some words came out of me that I think are illegal in probably 32 states. But as the form went through denial, panic, anger, fear, frustration, and then back around again 2 or 3 times, rinse, wash, repeat, there was still a sense of the observer. there was a part of me, like when I ask you to keep 5% of your awareness on the still silence within, there was still a part of me that was observing all of this unfold and watching it. The witness. It was that which is cultivated every time we take the one seat in meditation, in formal meditation. That every time while sitting and we put space around the thoughts, space around the emotions and the feelings, you see, we work with the small events in our practice, the little transgressions, the pinpricks, as drills for the more intense experiences that life is undoubtedly going to present to us. And just as the little events tend to bring little insights, so too do the larger experiences tend to bring about larger insights. This week, and even today, I have moved rapidly back and forth between pain and suffering. And there is even a gift in this, because the immediacy of having these two so close together, it brings a clarity of contrast. A clarity of contrast. It's not the slow-moving yearly cycles of, it was a good year, bad year. No, these are back-to-back, almost moment to moment. Every time I get a notice on my phone of some sort of a banking or a financial issue based upon what was happening with the credit cards and the checkbooks, there's a moment of pain that can be followed by the suffering, but the practice and the Sangha is right there. And so today the teaching is an invitation to look at how we amplify pain with suffering. It is the path of the spiritual warrior to open to pain. And it is the practice and 3,000 years of teachings that help us to understand the first noble truth. That's why it's number one. Life is dukkha. Life is suffering. Because the Buddha only taught one thing: suffering and the cessation of suffering. He didn't teach pain and the cessation of pain, because pain is a natural, normal part of having a body for 60, 70, 80 years to play with down here on this rock. Pain's a part of that, comes with it. Suffering is completely optional. Pain we can deal with. Suffering makes it unbearable. So, allow me, if you will, to share with you some of my insights from this week in dealing with, on an ongoing way, the loss of all of the credentials, the credit cards, the checkbooks, the iPad. I think my handy Leatherman all-utilitarian tool was probably the worst kick in the gut. Okay. Caught up in the suffering of the experience arose hundreds, if not thousands, of thoughts and things that need to be done. And the emotion of overwhelm and frustration became very prevalent and incredibly unmanageable. However, the practice, taking refuge in Buddha nature, in the Sangha, and in the teachings, the practice helped me to simply be with the pain itself, which brought body awareness. And in that moment, instead of 1,000 things to do, there was only one thing to do. That's right, Google it. So I did. I have not experienced this before, so I quickly Googled, what do you do when your wallet's been stolen? And I came across 2 unbelievably helpful videos. And one of them was even kind of spiritually centered. She kept saying, "Are you breathing?" I was like, thank you. Yes, breathing. And she took me step by step through all this incredible process. It was amazing. And so the practice brought clarity to help me realize that in this moment, you don't have to do this by yourself. And this isn't the first time it's happened. And so I quickly Googled on my phone, pulled up these 2 videos. They took me step by step, and I just started following the steps, and it was amazing. The tips they shared with me, I never would have thought of. Caught up in the suffering, self-pity arose, a sense of victimhood, and suddenly the whole experience became personal. How could someone do this to me? And as I released all these thoughts about how I don't deserve this, how these people, how mean can somebody be, blah, 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 poor little head. As I released the thoughts and explored the pain, there was only attachment and loss. A realization that those things were all completely replaceable. There also arose a factual nature of the experience. You see, there is the pain. It was absolutely there. I'm not repressing, not suppressing. I was totally feeling it. In fact, jumping into the suffering and all the mind stuff is a deflection from the pain. It's the true not feeling it. But when I dropped into the body and felt the pain and was present with it, a factual nature arose. A window was broken. Items are missing. And now I do what is the next thing on my little list that I got from my videos. Do this. Do this. It's very factual. But when I create victim, then here comes all of the suffering. Oh, this always happens to me. I somehow brought this on myself. I don't deserve, oh my goodness. It's fatiguing for all these things that arise. Instead of being present in the factual nature of what's the next thing to do. Check, check. Caught up in the suffering arose resentment. Again, remember, this is throughout the week. So caught up in the suffering arose resentment that I had to go back and forth numerous times to the Missouri Division of Motor Vehicles to, yes, I think I just got a hallelujah, to try to get a new license. And I'm not going to go into those details, but there was resentment for having to sit there for an hour in a crowded room and dropping from my head to my heart. My teacher always used to say that the spiritual path is the long, arduous 6-inch journey from your head to your heart. And as I dropped from all of the reasons why I could try to fix this, manipulate it, come back, should you call and get on the line first? Again, fatiguing. And when I dropped from my head to my heart, the most amazing thing happened because I sat there in presence and I could hear the beautiful humming of a young woman a few seats down from me, a solemn tune. And she was humming this as she was rocking back and forth. And it seemed in that moment that our pain united us. And I could see how solitary an experience suffering is. When you suffer alone. But when you are dropping into the pain, you are joining in the pain of all mankind. And it was beautiful. There's a sweetness in it. And it was so beautifully expressed by the solemn tune that she was humming. Caught up in the suffering, I could feel myself wanting to tell every person I meet, every stranger on the sidewalk, my story. To embellish with words like, oh God, what a nightmare, what a disaster. To shout from the rooftops what happened to me. To broadcast worldwide the injustice heaped upon me and how I didn't deserve this. However, sitting with the pain, the most amazing thing happened. I could understand suddenly, with the clarity of 1,000 lights, why shooters do what they do. How those who are suffering so deeply and with no way to express themselves, no way to communicate, no way to stop it, with no practice, with no sangha, with no refuge, how they resort to the only way they can to make the world understand they're hurting. If even for just a moment, I could understand it. And in that moment, compassion arose. Compassion is not sympathy. Compassion is not empathy. It is unexplainable. There are no words, but it was a knowing that in that moment I could understand. And understanding is love's other name. This practice is not easy, but it is worth it. The way of the spiritual warrior is through the pain. As we gain clarity around the difference between pain and suffering, through meditation, through mindfulness practice, through sangha, through the teachings, through retreat, through working with our teachers, a spiritual maturity takes over. There comes a point when you no longer have to practice. The practice does you. And the suffering drops away in the light of awareness. And we become fully present with the pain. And all that is needed to face the pain is courage. That's it. The courage to continue to show up. The courage to take the one seat. The courage to look inside instead of blaming the world around us for every injustice. Mark Nepo, the poet who is a deep practitioner, has a great way of saying it, and I'll close with this. In nature, we are quietly given countless models of how to give ourselves over to what appears dark and hopeless, but which is ultimately an awakening that is beyond all imagination. This moving through the dark into the blossoming is the threshold to God. As a seed buried in the earth cannot imagine itself as an orchid or a hyacinth, neither can a heart packed with hurt imagine itself loved and at peace. You see, the courage of the seed is that once cracking, it cracks all the way.
Thank you, Victor, for your teachings. Let's take a moment to embody the teachings we just heard before we move into our loving kindness meditation. Without thinking or analyzing, notice how your body feels. Now let's move into our loving kindness meditation. In order to connect more with loving kindness, you may wish to make a fist, place it over your heart, and cover it with your hand. You may wish to put one hand on your heart, or do the Anjali Mudra with your hands in front of your heart, or whatever makes you feel comfortable. Let's begin with a conscious breath. In your mind's eye, bring up an image of yourself as you are, with the body that you live in and the experiences that you've had. Or you may prefer to see an image of yourself as a young child. See yourself in front of you and repeat these words to yourself silently. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and in mind. May I be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. Next, bring to mind a friend of yours, someone it's easy to smile at, that you don't have a lot of difficulties with. See that person in front of you and send them loving kindness. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and in mind. May you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. Now, in your mind's eye, see an acquaintance. Maybe someone you passed on the street, you had a brief interaction with at a gas station or bank. Maybe someone you met recently, someone new at work or school. Bring that person to mind. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and in mind. May you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. Next, bring to mind a person with whom you have difficulties. Maybe you feel anxiety or frustration around this person. Bring them to mind and send them metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and in mind. May you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. Now, bring to mind an image of the world with all of its plants and animals and people, trees. And if you wish, you can bring to mind an image of the whole universe with all of its beings, known and unknown. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be safe from inner and outer dangers. May we be well in body and in mind. May we be at ease and happy. In the true spirit of dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, temple services are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, not in return for something you've received, but so that others who may seek refuge here can find it in this temple. Dana boxes are located on the lower floor near the door and at the front of the balcony. Thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers, and thank you also to our TBC ambassadors, those who have committed to regular electronic donations. It's not about the amount that you give, it's just that the monthly giving helps us to set a budget here at TBC. If you'd like to become an ambassador, just click the link on our website or text Unity Temple to 77977. And thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you, Victor, for sharing your wonderful teachings today. And thank you, Christine, for your beautiful music. Let's prepare to close our service with the Bodhicitta dedication. May the pure, brilliant sun of Bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And with our hands together in front of our hearts, let us go forth from this place, entering each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. Namaste. Okay, and now we have some announcements from Victor.
Thank you so much, Farah, and thank you everyone for being here. Just a couple brief announcements. Our TBC day-long retreat is coming up next Saturday from 9 to 4, and the theme of the retreat is finding presence in the midst of suffering. I'll actually be referring to this talk and talking about some of the methods and techniques that our Buddhist practice offers us to help work through not only our suffering, but being in the presence of suffering, those family members and communities around us that are sometimes dealing with a tremendous amount of difficulty. Also, next slide. Okay, yeah, there's a couple of things coming up. Don't forget the post-service discussion group, which is right down the hallway in the Heritage Room. So it's always a vibrant Sangha activity to talk about and apply the teachings to our own lives and to share that with each other. Also downstairs, there's coffee and cookies. And then today is our big all-temple extravaganza, but that starts at 11:30. So if you go to the discussion group, or maybe you go down the street to get coffee or something like that, be sure and come back at 11:30 for the activities. Also, we have a new class that we're offering. I've put some flyers out on the counter, and I'll be putting more up. The registration will actually go up this week. So you'll be able to go to our website and our Facebook page for it. But the class is called Feel Your Blankety Blank Feels, a guide to processing grieving through mindfulness, meditation, and other techniques and practices. This is a wonderful class offered by Crystal Webster and there's another person, sorry, I forgot that. But that's going to be on July 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. It's a 3-hour workshop, and she'll be working from a book. She's an author, and she wrote a book on this process. So I really want to encourage everybody to check it out. Again, the registration will go up this week. Other than that, we have lots of activities. We'll keep that up there. Or you can leave that up because people take a picture of it on their phone so you can see what else is going on. And don't forget our lending library, which is filled with lots of new wonderful books that folks have brought from their shelves at home that talk about the Dharma, our spiritual practice, and Buddhism in general. And then also, don't forget our sign-up sheets. There's a newsletter sign-up sheet on the counter out front, as well as a volunteer sign-up sheet. We are looking for some help, volunteer help, primarily right now in the area of youth and families. So it'd be nice to have a pool of folks that could help us with the kiddos. So I guess that's everything. Lots of things going on. Just check out our social media and things like that. Thank you all so much. And as you go into your day, we wish you peace and blessings.